Alors, bon matin, mes collègues francophones. Et maintenant, si vous permettez, même si je suis en Wallonie, on va passer de Molière à Shakespeare. Okay? Good morning, colleagues. Okay? This morning presentation is on Physical Literacy, a Foundation for Canadian Sport for Life. And what I'm presenting is food for thought. Okay? What you have to know is that this is mostly based, okay, on observation, on specialized literature, okay, on experience on the field. It's not necessarily scientifically based, okay? So what we hope is as more information comes in, we make changes on the generic document. What happened is that in 2004, the fall of 2004, Sport Canada asked 4 experts to write a generic LTAD model, okay? Because all our coaches at a young age were focusing on win-loss record, not on developing skills. Okay? So we wrote a generic model, and Sport Canada was impressed with it, so they financed the NSOs, okay, in waves, okay, in order to develop a sport-specific model, also based on the generic one, okay? So here goes, okay? As you can see, the presentation I'm about to do is not only from it's also from some of my colleagues that sent me information so that I would look good on stage, okay? This is our generic model, okay, of LTAD, okay? That we did in 2005. This is what we're focusing on this morning, the first 3 stages, okay? And so it's active start, let's say theoretically age 0 to 5-6, fundamentals 5-6 to 8-9, and learning to train 8-9 to 12 years of age, okay? Then the next stage is training to train. This is where you make or break an athlete. So the lecture this morning is only focusing on here, and it's food for thought, okay? You can see on the right-hand side here, first contact and awareness. We had to write a model both for able-bodied people as well as those that have a particular handicap, okay? So let's go. Oh, let me come back, sorry. I'm not going the right way. Our generic model had 7 stages. All NSOs, they could do 6 stages, 8 stages. In team sports, most of them did 8 stages. They went from training to win. They said, we learn to win, then we live to win, okay? Some only had 6 stages. I work with Equine Canada. They only had 6 stages. So they could determine how many stages on their specific model, as well as they did not have to use this terminology that you're seeing here, okay? Okay, so let's move on, okay? This is what we're focusing on. These are the next steps, okay? And so what you have to know is that Sport Canada and the government are really focused on having people active in sport, okay? So all NSOs had to do 2 streams, the pursuit of excellence as well as take care of active for life, okay? What is physical literacy? Here, a couple of examples. Okay, Margaret Whitehead, July 2013. Here's what she wrote. Okay, sorry, I have to read what's on the board for the French-speaking people because he can't see the board, all right? So the motivation, confidence, physical competence, knowledge, and understanding to value and take responsibility for maintaining purposeful physical pursuits activities throughout the life course, okay? Here's another one. This is from Physical Education and Health in Canada, okay? Individuals who are physically literate move with competence and confidence in a wide variety of physical activities in multiple environments that benefits the healthy development of the whole person, okay? I think I have one last one. No, I have two. Physical literacy is the ability to demonstrate physical proficiencies in multiple environments. Okay? And here's the last one, adapted from UNESCO. Physical literacy is crucial to the acquisition by every child, youth and adult of essential life skills, which is an indispensable means for active participation in the societies and economies of the 21st century. Okay? So there's many definitions of physical literacy. Okay? Here's how we did it. Okay? So here's the literacy. We're focusing here. So the group that started the movement, Canadian Sport for Life, we said physical literacy has three streams: fundamental movement, motor abilities like agility, balance, coordination, speed, rhythm, okay? And sport-specific skills, okay? Why physical literacy? Here's why. In Canada, I can only talk of the experience I have in Canada. This is the 21st century. You should see how my daughters and grandchildren are so skilled. I feel like a dinosaur. You know, they're doing all this stuff. Okay? And the funny part is you see the grandchildren trying to explain to their grandfather how to use this thing. Okay? Incredible. Okay? I mentioned before that Sport Canada is really preoccupied with having an active people throughout the society, no matter what age. Okay? And so here are the ages on the left-hand side, okay, going vertically. And here's the percentage of being active, males and females, at 6 to 11, okay? 12 to 15, okay? You can read it, okay? But here's the funny part. 52% of the people that were interrogated said that they were active enough. And those that conducted the research thought that it was about close to 11% overestimate. Okay? And so there's a huge gap between perception and reality. Don't forget, we're in the 21st century. That reflects my grandchildren. Okay? On the time that they spend. Okay? How do we get them to be active? They spend more time either on video games, either in front of a screen. Hey, I'm 77 years of age. In the 40s, we used to play outside all day. We used to create games. We didn't have anybody to organize us in order to play games. Hey, and what happened? We developed fundamental movement skills. While playing games, we developed motor abilities, agility, balance, coordination, speed. Hey. Now, I can't speak for your country, but in Canada, that's it. Okay. When I walk, my wife runs, but I walk. We go by a playground, there's nobody. Okay. We have buses now. Take them to school, bring them back home. Okay? So, this is gone. Okay? That brings back memories. That's what my mother used to say. When the lights come on, Junior, come in. Okay? But I wasn't obedient because we were playing games. Okay? And so I would hide behind the car And she would yell, "Junior, come in." And my friends would say, "I think Junior went on the other street to play with the other boys." Okay? And so I used to stretch the time. But that's it. Okay? It's never going to be heard again. Okay? Because everything has to be structured now for youth, no matter what age. Okay? Here's a major preoccupation of Sport Canada. Okay? Overweight and obesity. 31.5%, 65%. Okay? We didn't have that in the 40s. Okay? We ate like hell, but we used to burn all the calories. We don't anymore, no matter what age level. Okay? Now, this slide is important. Physical literacy is not the only way for active participation. It's only one gateway to active participation. Okay? Because there's many roads that leads to active participation. Not only the one that we're trying to convey to the Sport Federation and the coaches in Canada. Okay? And so you have to be open-minded that it's not only one-way street. There are other ways of getting there. Okay? Look at the term. Could be. Not should be. Could be. Fundamental movement skills. Now, let me explain how we determined fundamental movement skills in 2005. Movement skills. Running, jumping, swimming, sliding, skating. Look at it closely. We're talking of different environments. Okay? Motor abilities. Agility, balance, coordination, speed, rhythm. Okay? Skills and object. Passing, catching, dribbling, striking. Okay? So to us, physical literacy means a combination of these three streams. Okay? Walk, run, jump, catch, throw, kick, strike. Okay? But there's more than that. We used to do that. Today, everything has been structured. Everything has to be taught. And in different environments. So I know that back home, we have to go back to the drawing board. Because physical education back home at the elementary school, they have 50 minutes in a week. What can you develop in 50 minutes a week for, let's say, I don't know, 48 weeks or 36 weeks? We'll never make it. So there has to be other ways to introduce physical literacy to youth other than physical education in school. They're doing a great job, but they can't do it alone. Coaches have to get involved. Clubs, okay? Communities, daycare. So remember, locomotor, object, motor abilities, ground, water, ice, snow, and air. Okay? No way. No way. Not in the 21st century. They don't play outside. Everything has to be organized. My oldest daughter and her husband, they're taxi drivers. Take the youngest one to gymnastic, take the oldest one to soccer, okay? Take the other one to karate. Okay? Everything has to be organized. If we don't do it, okay, after a certain age, it's remedial work. If you only start because the adolescent is in a volleyball club, dealing with agility, balance, coordination, speed, once he's in high school, we're doing remedial work, not doing development. So we have to start focusing on 12 and under, okay, to give them a foundation. After that, you can build sport-specific skills. Okay? We need research. We absolutely need research. We have to convince the agencies, the government, to finance research 12 years and under. Okay? Back home, it's easy to get funding to do research with the national team. Hey, my God, you know what you're doing? I want you for 1 second just to imagine an iceberg floating on the ocean, okay? What are we doing in Canada? We're investing on the part that's floating on the ocean. By God, it can float on the ocean because of what is under that supports it. And until we start focusing research there, so that we become more proficient either as teachers or as coaches, we're missing the boat in Canada completely. But there's no funds for that. So what did my colleagues do? They have to publish in certain publications. They have to do research. They will go where the funding is. So you can't blame them. Okay, that's their career. We need a major paradigm shift in Canada. But that's one man's opinion. Okay, here's another study. Now you have to watch it when you watch the following screens. When they say year 4, 6, and 8, and 10, that's the years in school. So which means that their age, chronological age, is right here. Okay? Okay, so let's move. Mastering and early mastering, the sprint run, okay? Now, if we look at the boys, look at the colors, okay? So they're right here, okay? If we look at the girls, look at the colors. I wish they had used other colors so that it's easier to see, okay? And look at year 2 in school, okay? Year 4 in school, up to year 10 in school, as far as the mastery, or relative mastery, okay? What we don't know is what was the frequency, okay? Here's other elements, same thing, okay? But since I don't have much time, let's move, okay? So here we are, okay? Movement skills related to an object, motor abilities, and locomotor in different environments, okay? Who needs to be involved? We have to get, I don't know in your country. In my country, all organizations are autonomous, okay? So that means that in school, I'm doing what I think is right. I have no bloody clue what the hell they're doing in the club, okay? or in the community, but they're dealing with the same child, but they don't talk. Okay? And so we have to get them involved in order to develop fundamental movement skills with the three streams of before 12 years of age. So we need to focus here, there, and here. But we need to get them sharing and talking so that we don't duplicate. Okay? And it happens also at adolescent. When your child or your adolescent plays volleyball for the school, for the club, and also makes the provincial team. 3 coaches, they don't talk, and so your daughter's going to a burnout, okay, because of overtraining. As I said, we have to get them talking together and sharing their experiences so they can improve, okay? You know what we found out in 2005? That in all the coach's manual dealing with introduction to the sport, at a young age, 12 years of and under, the only thing they do is teach sport-specific skills. What do you think happens? We develop maybe a good volleyball player, but we sure as hell don't develop an athlete. We haven't dealt with movement skills, we haven't dealt with motor abilities. And so we're trying to convince the NSOs that in their coaching education, they have to focus that the coach also deals with the motor abilities, not only volleyball skills. Okay? On the left-hand side, okay, you have sort of a family of sports, combative sports, individual sports, team sports. Okay? And on top here, you have the different fundamental skills that regroups motor abilities and movement skills, like running, jumping, throwing. And as you can see, in blue are types of sports that are good to develop agility, balance, coordination, okay? In yellow, moderately. In white, none, okay? And so as a parent, if I want my daughter to do karate or whatever activity, I want to know what the coach is doing. Okay? And so this is a scale just to show the parents what type of sport develops what type of ability. Have you ever seen the movie Fiddler on the Roof? Have you? Has anybody seen that movie, Fiddler on the Roof? Ah, maudit. Il n'y a pas personne qui a vu ça. Okay, go and rent it. There's a father that has 3 daughters. And he sings a song, Tradition. Anytime I talk to an NSO, I put that on the screen. You're anchored in tradition, and you are not open to new ways of doing things. Which means that we're in 2014, and NSOs are still working with paradigms of the 20th century. Don't you think it's time to move on? These are questions. But don't take the organization isolated. Get them together so that they can share on that. Okay? Because they're dealing with the same child, but at different times in the week. This is, again, in Canada, okay? So here are possible organizations that you could involve in trying to see how can we improve our intervention with 12 years of age and under. What we're trying to focus on, because our target group are mostly NSOs and PSOs, that means Provincial Sports Federation, here. Why? Because they say, I only have 60 minutes or 90 minutes to focus on volleyball, okay? So, and you want me to chop time in order to do motor abilities, okay? And so we say, how about warm-up, okay? You have to convince them that that's the foundation on which you build sport-specific skills, okay? Because they've been endoctrinés. Comment on dit endoctriné en anglais? Endoctriné. Well, here goes. Probably after I'll come up with the English word, so I'll write it on a board somewhere. Okay? There are good programs out there when we looked around in other countries, because we didn't have any. Okay? If we did, here's one. That comes from British Columbia. Okay? In New Zealand, they have 7 books in the series. Okay? We're always talking now 12 years of age and under, okay? Schools, educational stream. That's what they did in South Wales. They trained the teachers. Okay? Naturally, I had to put one from Canada. I come from Canada. Here's a book we wrote on physical literacy. The main author was Dr. Colin Higgs, okay? And he had help with other authors, okay? And it focuses on children 12 years of age and under. We have put on our website many publications. Example, LTAD for parents, the one that you're seeing here. The generic one that we wrote in 2005, and because of new information, I think we're up to version 3 in that one. All you have to do is go to that website, go to documentation, and download all the documents we have free. That's the only thing we do well in Canada. We write bloody good documents. Whether we implement it, that's another story. If you want to hear more, invite me for a beer and we can chat over it, okay? The Coaching Association of Canada has a DVD that deals with these components here. Very good. I know that in Jordan they bought it. Many other countries have also bought the thing. Why? Because this is one thing we do well. On paper, we're very good. Okay? That's the part we do well. Why? Because that's the only thing we train coaches on. Okay? And so we're so narrow-minded. It's incredible. You know, too much specialization. And all you do is develop a volleyball player, not an athlete. Here's one example that we found in a book, okay, where they did both. So there's a movement now starting in coaching education, not only to deal with sport-specific skills, but also to say, look, you also have to train motor abilities and movement skill. We're in 2014. Are you still working with paradigms of the 20th century? Food for thought. Think about it, okay? Because other countries are moving forward. Maybe you're standing still. Oh my God. Sure, they compete. Let's see. Here's proof. Competition is neither good nor evil. It depends how you use it as a tool. Okay? Why do you need to go there? Here's what happened in Canada. Now don't forget, from 2005 to 2010, we have waves of sports federation that design a sport-specific model based on a generic model. Okay? What our government did, because they finance NSO, they looked at their LTAD. Then they looked at their competition structure for adolescents and 12 and under. And they said, there's no way you can do this with this competition structure. So at the moment in Canada, our NSOs are reviewing their competition structure. André Lachance, my colleague and friend, he can talk about it because he was the lead person for Baseball Canada in doing a competition review and implementing change in a traditional sport that has more than 100 years of history. Okay, so here goes. Who designed the system? The people that designed the system, have they ever worked with 12 years of age and under? Certainly is. We have to play 3 periods in hockey. Okay. It does. In hockey, 12 years of age and under, they practice 60 minutes on the ice. They play 3 hockey games a week. How the hell did you develop talent? Oh my God. My daughter coaches volleyball. You beat the opponent 25-3, 25-5, 25-7. Do you think it's meaningful for any of the teams? You have to find ways where competition is really meaningful if you want the youth to really enjoy, okay, the competition. That's what they're arguing now in Canada. What should be in hockey? Believe me, this is the truth. They play 80 hockey games, and that's not counting tournaments. They're 12 years of age. So what should be the minimum? What should be the maximum? Okay, and so you have to deal with people that are at that age level, with people that would ask questions in order to bring food for thought or reflection. When my daughter started volleyball, well, she wanted to play. Okay, so competition. They coach the competition. Our coaches in Canada, at least in my sport, that's the only thing they know what to do. They know how to prepare the team for the next game. They have no time to develop skills and develop tactical individuals with good decision-making in situation. They're preparing for the next game. And say they do that all season. Okay. Well, that's true in Canada. We'll give you support in order for you to go to a competition. Okay? That's it. If you don't do it, I don't care how good your written manual on LTAD model is if you don't change your competition structure. Okay? That's one point. Let me add to it. What is the recognition and reward for coaches in your country, whether they are 12 years of age and under or at the adolescent age? Back home, we have a hell of a good LTAD in volleyball. Okay? But you know what? We reward only and recognize only the coach that wins, not the coach that develops talent. So what we are doing now is at the end of the year, the one that has won the provincial championship gets a trophy with the sponsor. Right beside him, there is another coach standing there with the same size trophy, except the plaque is different. He has been voted by his peers and her peers as being the coach that did the best job in developing talent in that season. So we're starting to move forward now in recognizing and rewarding coaches that develop talent. And you'd be surprised, when we have a Quebec team, many athletes do not come from the winning team, but from the team that coaches focus on developing their skills. Okay? But it took a while before we got there. Okay? This is taken from J.P. Cotter. If any of you can read English, and that you're preoccupied on how do I introduce change in the organization. It could be the club, it could be the NSO, doesn't matter. Buy that book. Okay, because he has an 8-step process on leading change. Okay, and I don't have time to read all this, so let's move on. Okay. So here's what we did. The same group, the Canadian Sport for Life leadership team, we designed a 9-step competition review process. That's what we did yesterday with some of you that were with us. Okay? Here's the first step. First step is you have to convince me. Why should I do a competition review? I think things are going well. Okay? Here's the second one. What's your reality check? Your reality check is taking a picture of where you are now in your competition format and structure. What are your values and objectives? Okay. Why do they compete? What do you want to achieve through competition for 12 years of age and under? Muito importante, per favore, signora, signor. This is the most important one. All decision making should be based on the principles of competition. What are the principles? Are we meeting the principles with this type of competition, with this age level? Okay? And we have documents for that. Okay? And again, just go on there, download them. What are the issues and roadblocks that you are facing now because you want to bring about change? Okay? And don't forget, tradition. My God, coaches are traditional. They don't want to change. What are the solutions and recommendations that you want to put to the board? Okay? In Canada, you need to be competent to become technical director. You need to be competent to become an official. You need to be competent to become a coach. But you do not have to be competent to be a board member. You have to be popular. And that's the decision-making body. And someone on the board could have an hidden agenda because her daughter is on the B team and she thinks she should be on the A team. So isn't there a conflict there? Well, that's our situation in Canada. This is not enough. Why? If you have such good LTAD document, isn't it working in Canada? Easy answer. Did you have a strategy to convince the community, the coaches, the administrators, to to buy into your LTAD model? You don't have a strategy on how to convince me to buy in. I'm going to stick to what I'm doing now because I think it's successful. So this is the most important part. Your strategy to convince people to buy in. And finally, we move to implementation. And if ever you want to go through these 8 steps, I think there's a 9th one, yeah, evaluation. I would tackle Andre, because he's done it with baseball, and he brought major changes to baseball, who is, you see how I'm good at delegating? Don't come to me. Go to Andre if you want more information on that, okay? Good, let's move. So from those 9 steps, we designed a 2-day workshop, 2 days, not 3 hours, 2 days. Okay, getting started? How do we start off something? Communication, look at the word. Okay, then we move here. Who's going to be your work group? Who's going to be on subcommittees? Hey, you have to select the right people if you want to bring about change. They have to have credibility. This is the one that takes the longest time. Okay, because we have to agree on principles, then we have to set criteria to evaluate, and then come up with proposals in regards to solutions, okay? And then we move to implementing change, okay? And finally, evaluation and monitoring once you started implementing change, okay? And in here, there's a doctoral dissertation from Marie-Pierre Charret at Laval University. I was on the jury of that thing. She has 5 ways of implementing stage. It's page 89 to 93 in the doctoral thesis. It's worth a gold mine. That's what NSOs are doing. They're taking her suggestions because she did the pilot project with gymnastics, and now gymnastics is moving forward, okay? I've already mentioned that your leadership team has to have credibility, okay? Well, that's exactly it. Stay where you are. You will keep getting the same results, okay? And here's my favorite one. None of you in this room, none, know what impact you have on others. So don't come to me and say, oh, I'm all alone that thinks this way, and so we can't move forward. Hey, one step at a time. One step at a time, gradually. And you will start impacting. Then another one comes on board because it says, yeah, I think that's a good idea, okay? Then 2 more come on board. And finally you build a stream of, we call them champions, okay? That will help move this thing forward. Okay? And so you can have an impact. So, to what time did I have? Oui, c'est ça. I wanted to leave time for questions. Do we have time? Combien? Oh my God, I'm sorry. I talked too much. I apologize. I wanted to leave time for questions, but I must warn you of one thing. I'm a former university teacher, okay? You can ask him a question. You can bet your shirt that he'll talk on the question, but that does not mean he will have answered the question, okay? So any questions you want to fire at me, you've been warned, okay? So go ahead. Oh, je m'en vais avec ça. Hey. Thank you. More information will cost you a Belgian beer. You've been warned. Okay, thank you. Non, ça c'est de rien.
Merci Charles pour cette présentation. Dans un point de vue concret, à partir de ton expérience, quelles sont les plus grosses difficultés que vous avez rencontrées lorsqu'on essaye de changer les choses justement par rapport au modèle de compétition? Est-ce que c'est au niveau des fédérations, au niveau des entraîneurs, au niveau des parents, au niveau des enfants? Voilà. S'il y avait vraiment un ou deux vraiment points clés, ou bien vraiment des cibles très importantes sur lesquelles on pourrait avoir le plus d'impact, quelles seraient-elles?
Okay, passe le micro. Okay, the question I was asked is, what's the major difficulty I've encountered since I work with 14 NSOs and 12 PSOs on LTAD? Okay, so I will say only one, and then I will let André, okay? I'm very good at delegating, by the way. Why? Because he's been through it with Baseball Canada. So my major obstacle, okay, was that most NSOs did not have a strategic implementation plan convincing people to buy in. Okay? You cannot do an LTAD with an old boys network and imagine that all the rest will buy in. Okay? You have to stay in touch with the community. You have to take time to listen to what they have to say. Make changes, okay, if it is necessary, so that at least you're moving one step forward in the 21st century. Okay? And then try it. There's no way you can implement the 7 stages at once. You have to start with baby steps. Start with one stage. Well, most have started with 12 and under, okay? And then move forward. Oh, it isn't working. Well, we're not stupid. We're going to try and find solutions and then try and make another step forward, okay? But don't wait to think that it has to be perfect. There isn't an LTAD, nor the generic one, nor the sport-specific one that is ideal and is right. That was my problem. André, do you want to add something to, because you've gone through it?
So for me at baseball, and I'm going to talk about it in my presentation in a couple of minutes, but one thing I would like to tell you is you want to be like a stamp on the envelope. So that means that you want to stick to the envelope until it reaches its destination. So that means that you have to be persistent in everything that you do. And you can't accept a no at any time. And I got so many no's because I want to change the way baseball was played in my country. And I got so many no's. But at some point, if I would have accepted those no, I would never have achieved what we've achieved with Baseball Canada. No way. Okay, so that's one thing. And I think the key thing is to focus also on the why you want to make change. The day you convince people on why you want to make change, they will buy into it. But if you focus on the what, on the vehicle, on the program that you put together, I think this is where you're going to fail. And the example I gave to the group on Thursday is, you know, why are people buying the Apple products? You know, Macintosh, iPad, iPhone and everything. It's because Apple is so good at selling you the why. They're not selling you the product, they're selling you the why. And this is where others are failing. And this is why we're trying to do with sports as well, trying to take start with the why all the time. I think it's very important.
OK, bien. Je te dois une bière.
Est-ce qu'il y a encore une question? Une question? Je terminerai alors par une question.
Oui, c'est ça.
Oui, simplement, combien de fédérations vous suivent au Canada ou bien vous suivent peut-être partiellement dans votre démarche? Est-ce qu'il y a une fédération qui a déjà implanté des choses concrètes et de modification de la compétition adaptée aux enfants? Ouais. C'est combien?
Oh, je ne sais pas, parce que,
c'est...
voyez-vous, madame, nous avons 65 fédérations qui sont en train d'amener le changement pour le 21e siècle. Moi, j'en avais 14. Okay? Dans les 14, moi, je dirais qu'un tiers ont avancé. Okay? Un tiers sont encore dans le processus. Okay? Et un tiers, le document est sur l'étagère.
D'accord.
D'accord?
Okay. Merci pour cette précision des chiffres.
Yeah.
One question? Yeah.
Thank you for your inspiring presentation. I have one question, and in our federation we have moreover than 90% of the players are recreational, and your model that you presented is more oriented to the elite players.
Okay.
What can you say to that?
Okay. What the government has asked the NSOs is an ideal pathway, all right? They had to design an ideal pathway, and in their document, one that deals with the recreational aspect, okay? That was compulsory. They had to do that because they're the one financing the federation. So they have the two streams, okay? The ideal path for athlete development and the recreational stream. Now I come back to the ideal path. It's an ideal path. There's no way that some that are in my sport have started playing the game at mini volleyball. They might have come in on stage at their age 14. Okay? They come from basketball or whatever, okay? And now they decide with their friend they'd like to play volleyball. And so they're at the learning stage. While the guy that has gone through the whole process, he's here. Well, you know what? When I coached university, I had veterans that had been with me for 4 years, and I had rookies coming in. You should see the difference between them. So I had to adjust, okay? And so they have to also, okay? And so what we try to teach our coaches, we don't give recipes. You see, I could give you a fish, and that's okay because you're starving and that will satisfy an immediate need. But if I can show you how to fish, then you can take care of yourself for the rest of your life. That's the essence of what we're trying to do with our coaches in Canada. Okay? So we've gone away from the 20th century where we gave coaches recipes on how to teach the spike or how to teach the serve, and now we're going in another direction, okay, where they have to adjust. Okay, my athletes did not have the same training load. The rookies never had the same training load as the vets, nor in weight training, nor on the court. So all I'm saying is that we're moving in another direction. We're teaching you how to fish and not giving you recipes. Okay? OK, je crois que c'est tout parce que vous méditez une pause. Là.
Voilà.
Okay.
Donc on va clôturer ici. Encore un grand merci, Monsieur Cardinal. Thank you very much.
Okay.